Sunday Salveri was one of the fish farmers operating in the Nyamwamba Valley. At the beginning of the year, there were about 500 fish ponds in the valley.
I personally had over 4 fish ponds. Like here where we're stepping, it was one of the bigger ponds where I had over 2,500 fish. So I'd proposed to harvest the tilapia and carps, which would give me around 3.5 million.
Unfortunately, his dreams came to a brutal end in May when rivers Nyamwamba, Lubiriha, Nyamgasana and Mubuku burst their banks, destroying everything in their path.
We tried to gather water, but it was impossible because the floods were on high speed and the waters had gone highly on the levels of the fish pond.
Of the 500 fish ponds, only 5 fish farmers have been able to rebuild what the floods destroyed.
I am now going to get a loan. From going to get a loan, I revamp up the farm. From revamping it up, again I install. That is going to take me over 1.5 years out of farming.
Over the course of 10 years, Kasese's rivers have been flooding with alarming regularity. A few years ago, a fire ravaged Rwenzori Mountain National Park, exposing the soil and rocks. Now, whenever it rains, the fast-flowing storm water carries huge chunks of rocks and soil, depositing them into River Nyamwamba. Judith Wenge, the District Environment Officer, advises those who make a living in the valley to move further upstream.
Because the river banks basically are the main water control systems we have. Once they are destroyed, just be sure that any increment in water volumes is going to cause havoc.
Because the NEMA instructed us to be far away from the source of the river, the banks of the river, in almost around 200 meters, which we did. But even Nyamwamba followed me where I had gone.
Richard Bomera, the LC3 chairperson of Vulembia Division in Kasese Municipality, says the only course of action to save the community was to desilt River Nyamwamba.
Human activities had already affected the vegetation in that area. So when it rains, all the soils, because they are now from a bare area, they just come and make a contribution in silting the river. And therefore, as a result, the river lost its course.
In 2022, the government, through the Ministry of Water and Environment, lobbied for funds from the World Bank specifically to deal with River Nyamwamba catchment area. Bomera, who is also the chairperson of the Nyamwamba Catchment Management Committee, says the idea was to first restore the vegetation before desilting the river.
It got a project of tree planting and then creation of other livelihood activities. That is when we had the soil and water conservation, we had the apiary, we had the coffee value chain development.
The next phase was to desilt parts of the river, restoring its bank and stabilizing it.
They are desilting, removing the silt and boulders from the valley, and also construction of gabions, so that really the river should come back to its course.
The shillings 19.7 billion project was intended to work on only a 5.4 kilometer stretch of the river from Kilembe Secondary School to River Nyanji. However, in May 2024, River Nyamwamba flooded again, washing away all the wire mesh gabions and destroying most of the work done.
We engaged the government, and the government engaged the Ambitious Construction Company Limited. It promised to give more money so that we change now from the wire mesh gabions to the concrete.
Check dams have also been constructed in the hills to reduce the speed of the river.
The desilting is an expensive venture. That's why we even requested the government to consider us for machinery like D10, D8 that can help us to keep on desilting the rivers.
While the local governments within the district cannot afford to desilt rivers in their areas, they have secured funds to carry out mitigating activities on the riverbanks, such as planting bamboo and fruit trees along small rivers.